morning.
Good morning.
Some of the bulletins had sermon by Christopher Richardson. Some had comments and reflections from the senior warden, Zimpher. I don't know which bulletin you have, but I'm not Christopher Richardson. And I'm not going to give a sermon this morning, but I have been asked, and it is my privilege to talk to you about some issues that I think are of import and matter to our parish. And if you excuse me for semi-formality, I think using a microphone might help me communicate a little bit better this morning than being down with you. So, with that being said, last week Paul, I thought, did an outstanding job of outlining our current financial situation and the challenges, the opportunities. Frankly, I prefer to think of challenges as opportunities that are with us here at St. Mark's. Today I want to update you and update that report. Notwithstanding a potential gap between revenue and expenses, many of our families have stepped up to make the situation more tolerable. We should be thankful for the spirit that resides and prevails throughout this parish. The spirit of giving, of coming together, is something that has just impressed me and made me proud to be a member of this parish for over 40 years. Our pledging for 2016 is level. That's not a bad thing. I've done an informal survey, an unscientific survey of other parishes in the diocese, and trust me, we're in very good shape with level pledging. Not all parishes are that fortunate this year. And we're level, given the fact also that we have lost several families who are active in the parish, were active pledgers, have moved from Columbus. Other families have obviously had to make, as all of us do at times, tough financial decisions on how they have to allocate their resources. But most importantly, and I think this reveals the vitality and the life of this parish, we've had for 2016 17 new families. Some who've been here for a while, but most of whom are new and have obviously found some enrichment here. 17 new families have pledged for 2016. And I think that's a phenomenal testament to the vigor of our parish and the life we have here. But I'm also, as I reflect over 40 years, I'm also reminded, I'll be very candid, we at St. Mark's have wanted it all, we've expected it all, and we've generally had it all. And we've had it all thanks to special reserve funds, one-time bequests, etc., special gifts that have carried us beyond our pledged income. Well, this coming year, we've depleted all those special funds, all those resources. The staff fund is depleted. They have been used. And like most families, we now have to simply live within our means. And by that I mean live within the pledged income that we will have. To do that, the wardens, Jill Hint, myself, the rectors, the treasurer, who is truly a resource in this parish, Dot Yeager, began the process of preparing a balanced budget. One that will balance and recognize every aspect of our parish liturgical life. The strong need for pastoral care by our rectors to the members of this parish, the role that music plays as a part of our liturgy, which is so important, the very important outreach programs sponsored by St. Mark's, and certainly our educational and youth ministries. This process has been done with the advantage of great and very meaningful input from a special advisory committee we formed several weeks ago of folks among our parishioners. They have been meeting with us now for several weeks. And so for their efforts, we are very, very appreciative. We've also received, obviously, from individuals like you, meaningful and constructive comments on how we might go about better managing, or at least examining opportunities to better manage our resources. And to you, if you've made those recommendations or passed those comments along, I am, and Jill, I know, both of us are very appreciative of that. Our expectation, our knowledge, we know that we'll remain a vigorous and responsive voice of God's presence. We can and we will do this. We will meet our obligations to present a balanced budget at the annual meeting in a couple of weeks. After the Vestry, I trust, will approve it on February 8th. That budget will continue our rich heritage. But our stewardship also requires several other actions. We need to make sure that our expenditures are being spent in the most responsible and prudent way. Jill Hinton, again, given her business background and keen knowledge of business operations, has agreed to perform and take on two important tasks. One, she will look at how much we spend on paper and how much we spend on postage. Perhaps in some ways, is it that important? Well, it is a big part of our budget. For instance, and again, I hesitate to use this word in the church, but I'm sort of agnostic on this matter. I don't know if we're spending too much on paper or postage, because I don't know exactly what's required. Do we need to mail a hard copy epistle in this world of electronic communications? Do we need to have the bulletin that we have on Sunday mornings? I am now convinced by our esteemed rector that we may very well need that bulletin, because I think it serves a very distinct purpose. But we're going to look at how much we spend, how we use paper, postage, all of those kinds of matters. She will also, with other members of the vestry, undertake a program to look at our contracts with outside vendors, such as our heating, air conditioning system, the lawn care that we have, snow removal. We're going to look from a top-to-bottom perspective of all the contracts we have to see if they might not be rebid, frankly, to our benefit. Or to see if, frankly, there are other vendors who can provide equal services at a more economical fee for us. Our Finance and Stewardship Committee, under the leadership of Ann Davidson and Scott Milborn, has committed itself, or has begun, and we'll have a meeting here tomorrow night, to examine new ways, alternative ways, to generate revenue for our church, in addition to the pledged income we have, or the one-off contributions to the plate, etc., the more traditional kinds of giving. There are, as I'm led to believe, and I've learned, many, many opportunities out there. We might be able to link up with community resources, commercial interests, in ways to generate even added revenue for our parish. Now, this will not happen tomorrow. It won't happen by the time we have our annual meeting. So we still have an obligation to present a balanced budget based upon our pledged and other income. But these are resources, as Ann and Scott develop and people working with them develop, that can certainly help us long-term maximize opportunities to generate additional income, to enhance and to expand on our program. This morning was an opportunity to let you know that we're at work prudently to manage and to grow our resources. The lesson we heard this morning reminds us, at least it does me, of several things. One, we're reminded that the church is the embodiment of our Savior, as the Lord revealed himself to be by Luke in Luke's recording this morning. Just as you, Mark, my wife, and I have had many opportunities to contribute to wonderful, noble causes for the last many years. College scholarship funds, alumni funds, parent funds, medical research funds, you name it, we've all had those opportunities. And they're very worthwhile, you don't question them at all. But when we're reminded, as again Luke did, that the church is the outlet by which we enable the will of the Lord to be fulfilled, well, that puts a whole different perspective on our sacred mission, especially here in this particular corner of the world of St. Mark's. So I appreciate your attention. Appreciate the opportunity to give you an update on where we are and what we're planning. I will be available at coffee, as Jill will, and other members of the vestry, to continue this conversation or to receive any added input you might have to help us in our deliberations. So thank you very much.